6:41 and a half in Trinidad and Tobago as we look at the Princess Town area where there isn't too much of a traffic issue at the moment as the traffic is moving along because we are somewhere away from 8 o'clock, usual working time for many people in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know how many people though are actually on time these days when it comes to being at work, but our guests were certainly on time this morning. Works and Transport Minister Rohan Sinanan, Director of Drainage Paula Weber, and someone who we haven't heard from us yet, Adande Piggott, who is Traffic Engineer 1, joining us this morning as well. Mr. Piggott, before we leave you there all by your lonesome out on the outside there, I'm sure you would have heard the usual complaints over and over about traffic coming into Port of Spain, most urban areas, issues with the quality of the roads, people saying all sorts of things about our roadways, how it's ancient, how it's crumbling, how it's inefficient, it's not satisfactory. From your point of view, with your responsibility as a traffic engineer, what stands out as the major challenge for you?
Morning, Fazir, and morning, Trinidad and Tobago. The major challenge is supply capacity, having the capacity to deal with the demands that we have on the roadway. So we could just break it down simply. We have demand, supply, the quantum of vehicles we have on the roadways. The roadways cannot deal with it. So what we normally have to do in scenarios like this is to put more emphasis in public transportation. Because to be honest with you, we cannot build our way out of congestion. No matter how many roads we build, you wouldn't get to deal with the congestion issues. We have to invest a little bit more in the public transportation. When you look at public transportation, you need to start to move people more than moving the vehicles. So in a bus, you will see a bus that could take a number of 60 people, 80 people, and some of the articulated buses take a number of more people. When you look at what's taking place on the roadway, you're seeing one person, one car, right? If you have a bus, train, whatever solution we may need, you see the quantum of people that will be moving inside of it definitely will be reducing some of the challenges we have on the roadway. Once you invest in public transportation, you could do a number of demand strategies to reduce the number of vehicles on the roadway. So you could do some stuff like the parking demand. So you could put tolls on the roadways now so that it will be a little bit harder for you to use your vehicle. Because when you see that the public transportation system is working efficiently, you will now realize it makes no sense for me to stay in my private vehicle. I will use the public transportation system. And
Minister, how much of a dream is that to have a situation where people will happily leave their vehicles at home and take public transport and get to work on time or get to wherever they're going on time, knowing that the bus from Samoa to Tom would say leaving at 8:15 leaves at 8:15?
Okay, Fazir, I agree with you. It's a cultural change, but it has to be driven by something. It has to be driven by the fact you have an efficient public transportation system. We have not had an efficient public transportation system in the past. You go out, you wait for a bus at 7:15, it comes at 8 o'clock. And in some cases, it doesn't come at all. And there's no way you will know that. So the key to it is to have an efficient public transport system.
And what needs to be done to get us there?
You have to have a serious stand and a policy on, first you must agree that you need that. And you must take away some of the inefficiencies of the system. What I can tell you we're doing now, we have mandated the board at PTSC to get as close as possible to that in the shortest possible time. One of the challenges we had with PTSC is that PTSC had about 24 brands of buses.
You almost have more brands than buses.
And you're quite right with that. We have tried to stymie that down. PTSC has taken a policy decision to bring that down to about 4 brands because you really can't have some company with a monopoly on the service. So that is in train now. Again, the average lifespan of a bus should be about 7 years. Our average bus lifespan now is about 10 years, all the way up to 20 years. So recently we have brought in 50 additional buses. Now you can't bring in 25 buses every year and then you take 40 out of the system. So Cabinet have approved the PTSC on a government-to-government arrangement where we can get 300 buses at one time. What that will do, it will give you the capacity that you need. But having the capacity in the same system and the same old, what will happen to that 300 buses? They will eventually get to the state where the fleet is now. So the board of the PTSC have been mandated to use technology to improve their service, where you can actually stay on your phone and know where the next bus is. Use the GPS system. This is not reinventing or inventing anything new. This is what is used in all the developed countries, where you can stand at the bus station or at the bus stop and check and see how far the bus is. Is the bus on time? And once we improve the capacity and the fleet, and the management at PTSC understands what is expected of them, I don't see this as being an impossible task. This is happening all over the world. We are actually working now with some of the experts and the best in class in public transportation to get our public transport system up and running. As I said, once we get that the fleet in hand, the rest of it is really up to management, because it's all about managing a service. The maxi taxi service in Trinidad is managed efficiently, but because it is run by the maxi taxi owners, you could virtually come out.
Because, Minister, forgive me for interrupting you, because it's virtually a private enterprise.
Right.
If they don't make money, they go out of business. If PTSC has more brands than buses and cannibalizing vehicles and the scheduling not being maintained, nobody gets fired. There are no consequences for inefficiency.
And I said the problem we have in Trinidad is really enforcement, and I think the Prime Minister is leading by example, where he's dealing with delinquent, and he told us as ministers, look, if we don't make the change, he told us up front, don't fall in love with the job, because the decisions that have to be taken in this country will not be popular ones. Almost every cabinet meeting he will tell us, do not fall in love with the office, because the decisions that we have to take will make us very unpopular. And I can tell you, whatever decisions I have to make as minister, I will make it, because I am not in love with the job.
And just on that point, I mean, we all talk about the culture. Anytime is Trinidad time. Anything goes. Enforcement is always an issue. Lack of regulation. Do you really believe that, given all of the different challenges, that we can ever even start the process under this particular administration, given all that we've had for so many decades, that we can actually start the process of an efficient, effective public transportation system, that we can actually get that done?
You said if we could actually start the process. I am confident that the process have started. I worked very closely up to last night. I was in touch with the chairman of the PTSC. You reckon that we had an incident yesterday where someone...
how that could happen? How somebody could steal a bus?
I am actually waiting, and I told him that I am just simply accepting a report. Somebody has to be held accountable, and I'll be bold and saying it. Somebody needs to
lose the job.
Nobody's going
to get fired. You'll get a letter. You'll get transferred somewhere else or whatever.
I can assure you that this minister doesn't operate, because at the end of the day, the decisions have to be taken. We have to start somewhere for zero. We can't continue as we're going. We came down from a budget of $60 billion. All right? We cannot afford the lifestyle and the way we operate, because these things cost money. Inefficiency costs money, you know. And if you can't afford it, then what? So we have to change the way we do business in Trinidad and Tobago.
Mr. Piggott, I mean, you, like the rest of us, you live here.
Yes,
and given all of the realities, do you really see it as something that can be achieved? It's all well and good to say, well, this can be done, this ought to be done, and we can, but from the practical realities that we all experience in Trinidad and Tobago, how difficult is it technically to have an efficient public transportation system? Does it really require, is it about the mindset or the technical issues tied into it?
Well, both. Well, you have to build the infrastructure first, and when you build the infrastructure, you'll make it so attractive that the mindset will change. You cannot force people to do what they have to do or what we want them to do. For example, if you look at more developed jurisdictions, you have New York City, London, they have perfect transportation systems, and they still have heavy congestion.
Not if you ask them.
Right.
The London
Right.
people will be cussing. They say this thing is the worst.
Well-
and then we in Trinidad and Tobago say, all you should come for Spain.
Yeah, but they have really good transportation systems and things that we should admire. And you still have congestion on the roadways, right? But the people who choose to use their private motor vehicles, when the state puts something efficient for you, you pay a significant cost for it. When you go to some of the smaller islands in the Caribbean, you see the cost of fuel, right? We are nowhere there. The government could also, when you put a public transportation system in place, you could increase the price of fuel. So now it'd be more difficult for you to drive. When we already starting to take off the number of vehicles on the road with the inspection system, so I hope everyone is putting things in order by next year. That is part of attacking the demand that is on the roadway, because we have a quantum of vehicles on the roadway that ought not to be on the roadway. That is also filling up the stream, right? So I don't see it as a difficult task. One thing I must note that we have already started the National Transportation Plan.
Another plan?
No. Well, before, National Transportation Plans were heavily skewed towards highway development. And this one, the approach with this one, even though it's not approved as yet, Minister, by Cabinet, but the approach from the technical officers
Carefully, while you jump in the gun, you know.
No, well, the approach from the technical officers within the ministry is on the public transportation side. So it's going to be properly thought out. And we have a gift already, the 16-mile long priority bus route that could be further optimized. The government already, we are doing designs. The ministry is already doing designs on high occupancy vehicle lanes on the Churchill Roosevelt Highway and the North-South corridor. So when you have, we're trying to move people, so the maxi taxis, the buses, the same buses that are fighting up with the traffic situation, is not attractive. If you have a private motor vehicle, why are you coming out of your vehicle to go into a bus that is driving on the same lanes as you? Many people may not know, on the East-West corridor, because of the priority bus route, it's taken off a lot of load on the Churchill Roosevelt Highway. If you traverse the length of the priority bus route, you will see informal park and ride situations taking place. And we already have a concept document to formalize some spaces along the priority bus route where residents could come from high up in Lopino, all those areas, and come closer to the priority bus route and park in safe areas. We'll use some of the sporting facilities that already have security guards and all of that. That is very near to the priority bus route, so you could park and ride. So those things are already taking place in an informal manner. The challenge we have is on North-South corridor. They do not have that gift of the priority bus route. So once we optimize the use of the priority bus route, and we are already conducting designs with the North-South corridor to put a system in place, a high occupancy vehicle lane, to optimize the movement of people, not vehicles. So the maxi taxis, the taxis, and the buses can use that. It will make the system a little bit more attractive, right? And then when you put that system in place, we'll deal with the transfers now. Transfers is another issue we have.
Time is going by.
Okay, no problem.
The challenge with that informal park and ride is where people park, because somebody parking is very irresponsible. But we have to take a quick break because we want to come back with some final thoughts from all three guests, including the Minister, of course, and also that issue of the blight that people have been getting for inspections of their vehicles. Time is running out on that issue. We'll hear from the Minister on that. If that blight is going to be extended into December or into the new year, we'll be right back.